Let's see how graph f of x equals sine 2x looks like. We know we want to look at 5 key points. If the big quantity 2x equals 0 pi over 2 pi 3 pi over 2 pi, then sine this big quantity, that will be sine 0, which is 0. Sine 2x, this big quantity, choose pi over 2, you have 1. Sine 2x, this big quantity, when you choose 3 pi over 2, you have a sine 3 pi over 2 is negative 1. Similarly to this case and this case. All right. So when big quantity equals 0 pi over 2 pi 3 pi over 2 pi, x just needs to choose half of this 2x. So then you know every value here divided by 2, then it goes to 0 divided by 2 is this number. Pi over 2 divided by 2 is pi over 4. Pi divided by 2 is pi over 2. 3 pi divided by 2 is 3 pi over 4. 2 pi divided by 2 is pi. So when x just needs to choose from 0 to pi, then 2x will double every value upstairs. And those 5 values are key points. When this big value 2x, this big quantity 2x, choose these 5 big values, what we have is 0, 0 for sine. And then big value choose pi over 2, you reach the big value, the maximum value for sine, which is 1. Big value choose big quantity 2x, choose x over 2, you have 1. But x is only halfway to the pi over 2. So when x choose pi over 4, you then have already the sine 2x can reach the maximum. Okay, so when x choose pi over 2, then 2x is pi. Then sine pi will be 0. Okay, so when x choose pi over 2, it can already hit x-axis. Okay, so you then keep going. When x choose 3 pi over 2, right here, then you then have a 2x choose 3 pi over 2, but sine 3 pi over 2 is negative 1. Sine 3 pi over 2 is negative 1. So the last frame you get is when x is pi, 2x will be 2 pi, sine 2 pi is 0. So basically this 2 tells us that the graph of this function, y equals sine 2x, shrink the period from 2 pi to pi. We know sine x has period 2 pi. So basically in future, if you see the coefficient here is 2, you just need to use this 2 to divide 2 pi, which gives us the period of pi. So again, if here is 3, coefficient of x is 3, you use 3 to divide 2 pi. Then the period you get will be 2 pi divided by 3. If here were 4, coefficient is 4, then 2 pi divided by 4 will be 2 pi divided by 4 will be pi over 2 Okay, yeah. But here is the fractional number. You got to be careful. For example, if here is 1/2 instead of 2, so 1/2 x, and then 2 pi divided by 1/2, it gives us 4 pi. Okay, then the period, one here, the coefficient is 1/2. We actually make the period longer, is 4 pi. Okay, so we got to be careful. All right, please review this lecture. I'll see you next time.